So I've been in healthcare for 35 years and ophthalmology probably about 10. So healthcare has been my entire career. Started at Roche, not working in ophthalmology, but other areas, and came to my first experience with ophthalmology was at iTech. And that was really the beginning of treating patients with anti-VEGF, and it was amazing. I had one experience early on with a patient coming in. This was before Macugen, Lucentis, Eylea were approved, who came in, was an AMD patient, obviously no cure, no treatments other than Visudyne at that point. And the most amazing thing was, he says, you know, you lose your sight, you lose your life, but yet you're still with family, you become dependent on family, you have impressions, and I have to tell you, that was very motivating. Recently, I've been able to visit, actually here in Chicago, a doc in southern Chicago treating patients. Similar story, we have some options now for patients with wet macular degeneration that come in for injections. It is very moving. You see these people come in with families. Some of them are doing well, others are not doing well. But most important are the dry patients that just have no treatment options other than possibly vitamins. So you see that and you become extremely motivated. So our company is working both on therapeutics to continue to hopefully improve treatment and also gene therapy as well. So it's all about patients at the end of the day. You sit in the office, you work on clinical trials, but when you get out and see patients, that moves you. And for me, it makes me very motivated. We have a group of about 35, 36 people that are working on clinical trials, finding new opportunities. And I don't know if you know about our organization. Everything we have, we bring in through business development. So we have no labs that we're creating original research. So it really is quite a task for the business development team to pick the right opportunities, find innovative medicine, find unmet medical need, and also find those opportunities that have commercial viability. So the way we keep the team motivated is everybody's involved with clinical trials, everybody's involved with business development, and when we do go out and see patients, I encourage everybody on the team to go and do that. So that interaction of looking at the science, looking at the medicine, the clinical trials, and then meeting the patients you're treating, there's nothing more motivating. So I encourage everybody on the team, whether it's the clinical team, the finance team, the legal team, get out and see how our medicines are used, how our medicines could be used, and also look at the unmet medical need that's out there. And that's extremely motivating to the team. So a couple of years ago we had a clinical failure, not uncommon. I think this one, based on the science that had been done up through phase 2b, there was a lot of excitement for two reasons. It was from an investment standpoint. We had done a very successful IPO, a big partnership. Investors were excited. But more importantly, patients were also looking forward to this additional treatment to help them with their wet macular degeneration. So my involvement at that point, I had just joined the company about 9 months before that. I was on the board of directors, getting the company ready for commercial launch. We had built a team of about 160 people. Our partner was Novartis, and honestly, we were surprised based on the data that we had seen before, but we had to deal with it. Dealing with it was painful. It meant that we had to downsize the company. We had to cut a lot of expenditures. We had to stop the trials that were still active because there was some additional follow-up, and it was a one-product company. So it was a lesson learned when you have a one-trick pony or a one-shot, and you put everything on that. The one fortunate part was that we had a lot of money, and we met with the board of directors. The board asked me if I would stay and help turn the company around. I did that initially as president, became CEO in July of last year. And we have put a plan in place that now has built our portfolio to 8 opportunities. So we're never going to be exposed to that one shot on goal. And we've also added gene therapy to our portfolio. Still have therapeutics, now I've added gene therapy, and we're still looking for more opportunities. So I think we're trying to hedge the future, not only work on great medicines that are going to help patients, but also to have a broad portfolio. Today when I do my presentation a little bit later, the theme will be we're focused on back of the eye diseases, large market opportunities, orphan, and we're going to use both therapeutics and gene therapy to try to find solutions for patients. I most recently came from a company I was a co-founder in that was working in cardiovascular medicine. We moved the paradigm. You know, people are surviving heart attacks now where you went back 15, 20 years, the mortality rate was in the teens. It's now in great hospitals, you know, 1/10 of 1%, 2/10 of 1%. So great innovation, we continue to improve. Ophthalmology had some great innovation with anti-VEGF treatment, but I don't think we have the level of innovation yet in ophthalmology that you're seeing in some other subspecialties. With gene therapy, and gene therapy being applicable to the eye, this is a major paradigm shift for the industry and for patients here. So I'm hoping that that whole wave of innovation is really going to kick in with new modalities like gene therapy, better drug treatments, which we're working on as well to help these patients. But I think ophthalmology had a great win with anti-VEGF, but we've been lagging behind for patients on the innovative side. No, actually it goes back to my days at Roche and early on where my mentor, who was the CFO of Roche, I was actually quite young, probably still in my late 20s. He said, you know, in this industry, never give up and always be persistent. Have the patience to, you know, to see it out. I didn't realize what that meant at this time, and that was the 80s where things were a little bit different. But in this industry, unless you have the tenacity to keep going and the patience to wait a very long time for something either to work or not work and do it again, you don't have the right DNA to be in biotech or pharmaceuticals. So that was great advice. After that, he shipped me off to Basel. And actually, I had seen that in a unique way. I worked with a little company called Amgen when I was at Roche, and it was a little company, and we developed Neupogen for cancer therapy. And it was a great experience. I came back, I worked on PCR. That was technology that was in the works for 15 years that now has changed diagnosis. So it is tenacity, it is patience, and you really have to stay with it because this is not developing a new software program. This is dealing with people, and it takes a long time to develop these drugs. So you have to be patient. Trust and transparency. And also that when you put that all together, you put together a great team that has the same beliefs. So I come from a financial orientation, you know, so you learn the basics about, you know, integrity and trust. I guess sometimes you got to test trust when you're in those positions, but I think that's critical when you're dealing with patients. The integrity of the organization, the tone you set at the top, and how that trickles through is absolutely essential. And it's a great networking event. It's a great event to keep current, to see what's going on in the industry. You know, similar to big ticket events, you learn a lot of new stuff, and people wait to tell their stories. But it's the people interaction probably most. And you know, I could travel to investment conferences, etc. There's a level of informality or not formal that makes this much better than an investment conference because people are just talking. You have a little bit of time in between. So congrats to you, great event.